You're listening to Left at the Valley 2.0, Atheist, Skeptic, and Humanist Radio.
A long time ago.
Hey, Gog, how's it going?
Hey, Krog, no good. I have hard time making things grow here.
I bet. Ever since that mountain caught fire, it's been harder than usual.
I know, wife been telling me to.
Go hunt a mastodon!
See? No catch break. We have so many kids want food, not enough food.
I feel you, brother. You know, the spirit spoke to me earlier.
You talk about stupid deer skull you have in backyard? On pole?
Shh, he might hear you. Well, anyway, he told me that the reason the mountain is exploding is because of the demon under the mountain create a ruckus.
What, you crazy?
I know, right? But if we can find a way to calm him down, maybe the hot stuff pouring out the top will stop too.
Maybe, give him gift? I know, might try. But what gift can I give him, aside from favorite hunting stick?
You know what, brother? I don't think the demons are interested in your stick. But we could throw in your daughter.
No, she young, not married yet. Maybe has, value demons appreciate.
See, now you're talking. And in bonus, the demon will take care of her, and you won't need to feed her, and you'll have the wife off your back.
Go hunt something!
Ugh, hey, this has nothing to do with refusal to marry you last week, right?
No, of course not. No, what are you talking about? After all, I am a man of the spirits.
Hiya, Dad. What you doing?
Hey, kid. Say, you want to take really, really nice warm bath and meet new interesting people and stuff?
Ooh, that sounds super nice. Mom says that you're a bum for not hunting.
Oh, that woman. Let's go up mountain for a while.
And that is how religion started.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Randolph Richardson of Canadian Atheists, and I turned left at the Valley.
I know we shouldn't have to scream that we're atheists. We don't have non-astrologers and all that. But with religious people taking over the world, we can either speak up or be pushed into a corner.
I'm proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith in unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.
Coming at you from Horgan, BC, DeSantis, Florida, Abbott, Texas, and Walls, Minnesota, this is Left at the Valley 2.0. My name is Kevin, and people wonder why Gen Xers are angry. Listen, we have to pay for vinyl, replace it with tapes, replace it with CDs, and now MP3s. How many times must I pay to listen to rock and grunge?
Yes, but it's now back on vinyl again, so you gotta repurchase all that.
Should have kept those.
What is old is new again?
Joining me as usual is a team who thinks atheists are the only ones allowed to moan, "Oh God," otherwise during sex, otherwise it's taking the Lord name in vain.
They're just trying to make sure he's watching.
That's right. She thinks porn gives you an unrealistic idea of how quickly a plumber will come to your house. Sabrina.
Hi.
And he just found out Einstein was a real person. All this time he thought he was a theoretical physicist. Brent Lee.
It's just a theory.
Just a theory.
He turned off the big fan because it was noisy. Everybody else in the helicopter panicked. Benjamin.
Yeah, it was an interesting flight.
And if she wanted to see a fat rodent in a hole for Groundhog Day, she'd go to Mar-a-Lago. Hertzie.
I ain't going to Florida.
I don't blame you.
I will stay where it's cold.
Why? You can wave hi to Brent on the way by.
He's just down the street.
Just down the street. Really.
And this show is brought to you by our patron, including Mark Gibbs, who's so powerful when he does a push-up, he actually pushes the earth back. You too can become a patron. Just go to patreon.com/LATV. Guys, welcome back. In the second half of the show, we'll be talking to John, the Godless Engineer.
Damn it! I thought we were talking to the actual God. Okay,
Yeah,
I got
all
questions.
excited.
Yeah, this podcast took a turn.
Well, we've invited him a few times, you know.
Yeah,
but
he's just not
he's ghosting us.
Yeah, not answering my email.
He's tough. to
Anyway,
reach.
John, the Godless Engineer, in the second half of the show. But first, let's do our usual chit chat. Oh God. Okay. Indeed. In science news, you guys, in science news flashes to say, did you guys hear that there was two record mega flash events that were recording from space in 2020, including a lightning flash that was 768 kilometers or 477 miles across, and one of them that was also a 17-second duration.
Okay, so once again, you had me all excited because you said mega flash, and I thought God flashed everybody.
Yeah, and it was a big one.
That's what she said.
That is not what she said.
The first case, the one with the 477-mile-long lightning bolt, was actually stretched across Texas and Mississippi. Both were recorded by the World Meteorological Organization, the WMO, in April 2020. And in June 18th, in Uruguay and North Argentina, they recorded the longest-lasting lightning bolt, which happened for 17.1 seconds. Think of a lightning bolt for 17 seconds. That's insane, right?
Jeez.
Lightning is very difficult to record, of course, we know, because we never really know when it's going to actually strike. But now with satellite technology, it becomes far easier because we could just take pictures and recording from above. Anyway, to give you an idea, that bolt, that really long lightning bolt, it's a bit like taking a nice walk from New York City to Columbus, Ohio. That's how long it was.
Jesus.
That's how long it took.
So if we could ride the lightning.
I know, right? That'd be pretty cool.
You know, maybe that was it. Thor decided that he needed to take a quick trip and had to go a long way.
Yeah, did somebody check if there was what was it called, that Rainbow Bridge? I forget that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Following last week's news, we talked a bit about the Freedom Convoy in Canada. A Republican...
I'm spelling that FREEDUMB.
Yeah, that's a good way.
We all know. Anyway.
Well, a Republican politician has been trying real hard to look dumber than normal. And
which one?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a stretch.
Well, yeah, this is actually Representative Chip Roy from Texas.
Oh, I think I know.
He's been promoting online his conspiracy theory that the Prime Minister Trudeau, is currently, which is actually currently affected by COVID. Again, this is the second time he's caught COVID, and he's
positive
in isolation. Yeah. Well, Chippy Boy here thinks that the PM essentially has fled to the U.S. right, to avoid the trucker convoy. Somehow he thinks that the trucker convoy has put the entire capital of Canada under siege, and the Prime Minister has fled to the United States.
I thought that's what Antifa did.
That's right.
And BLM, I thought those were the ones who held cities hostage. I'm confused now.
I mean, that'd be out of the frying pan into the fire, man. Like, you wouldn't do that. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy's been promoting this online for a while now already. And like we said, it's not Trumpers or anything like that does these kind of violent protests. It's obviously Antifa. So now Justin Trudeau is fleeing Antifa to the United States somehow.
So he's got some sort of hashtag like deport Trudeau.
Wow.
So here's a tweet. Here's an actual tweet from the guy. Quote, if Justin Trudeau is hiding in the United States, we should return him to Canada and make him face his people immediately. No safe haven for fleeing COVID tyrants. Hashtag live free. Hashtag deport Trudeau.
Yeah, there it is. Hashtag. Like, come on. Seriously? Trudeau's not in hiding.
No.
He's in isolation.
Yeah, exactly. To which I tweeted back to him, you're a moron. It's obvious the PM is in a secret Illuminati bunker underneath a pizza parlor in Ottawa molesting Kofefe in full 5G.
Fair enough.
Clearly, yes.
I think you got conspiracy theory bingo.
And it's flagged. You got flagged. Now you're going to get banned, man.
No. Of course not.
That's too bad.
The rumor started, obviously, with an anonymous tweet that Chips Ahoy here is trying to repeat. And the PM is actually at a lakeside cabin in Quebec right now. During his, he was there during his last virtual meeting because he's still kind of working virtually, obviously.
Because he has COVID.
Yes, he's actually not because he's got COVID. You know, and think about it this way: why would Trudeau flee the country to a country with no universal health care while he's sick with COVID?
Do you really think he'd be allowed across the border? There's all these mandates. That
No. Okay, but don't you know this story? You don't understand. You don't hear this story in the U.S. of the rich Canadians who come here for their medical care because the medical care there is so poor.
Yep.
It's such bad medical care that rich Canadians come to the U.S. They do it all the time. I swear. I hear it. It's my Canadian uncle and.
I've heard that story, but yet I've never met a Canadian who's gone down south for medical care.
Well,
neither have we.
It's like every good lie has a grain of truth. There is also a small grain of truth in there. It's true that a rich Canadian might go to the States to get something operated on if he thinks the waiting period is going to be
Actually, can I just take a few steps back? I have actually heard of several cases of Canadians who need a procedure done that can't be done in Canada, lobbying our healthcare, universal healthcare, to pay for a procedure down in the States and actually having them paid for. So it isn't about being a rich Canadian, because if it's something that's valid and can be proved to help, our government will pay.
I have a cousin who her husband is affected with Lyme disease. He used to be a park ranger. He got bitten by a tick. He's got Lyme disease, and apparently they're lobbying the government to go to Germany. Because apparently Germany has great programs for Lyme disease, which Canada might not really have all that much, and neither do the States apparently either. So it happens. You know, there are some medical advances other countries are actually a bit better in than our own.
You got to go see Eli Bosnick. He's got a really good treatment for Lyme disease. Yeah.
That's right.
I was debating saying that. I was gonna say, and I live in Minnesota, where the Mayo Clinic is, which is one of the best hospitals. I could totally see somebody being like, hey, I need to go to the Mayo because there's a specialist there for XYZ.
The entire reason I moved to BC from Quebec is because my daughter has a medical condition, and they had more specialists here in Vancouver than they had in Quebec City. That's the entire reason I moved to the coast. So
to meet me.
so it
only took 20 years, but
it's not because the evil of social medicine and blah blah. No, this is just bullshit. Anyway,
but how many of those people are flying to like LA to get a facelift?
Yeah, and that's entirely possible as well.
We got specialists too,
I've heard many Canadians go down to Mexico to get their dental work done. Apparently they're cheap in Mexico.
Yeah, that's one thing. A lot of our universal health care does not cover dental care, so that is an issue.
I'm guessing eye care as well
right now. Yeah, eye care is never it's often not even covered under extended health plans.
Anyway,
Lord forbid we see.
In Free Willy news, Iceland has announced they will stop and they will not renew commercial whale fishing licenses when they expire in 2023.
There's commercial whale fishing licenses?
Yes, there is. Commercial whaling has resumed in Iceland in 2006. The reason is simple, actually. People would think because whaling, whales is a horrible thing, and it is. But the reason is actually simpler than that. There is little to no economic benefit. The costs are just too high, and there is a diminishing demand for whale products by the consumer. And add to that COVID restrictions, and voila, the industry is pretty much dying in Iceland.
Good.
But how are we going to light our lamps now without the blubber?
Where do I get my whale oil?
Why are they eating?
Japan is still for commercially fishing whales, right? And
is it for the meat?
Oh, some of it, yes.
Okay.
Iceland is estimated to have killed 146 fin whales and six minke whales in 2018. They were also accused apparently of killing a rare blue whale.
That's not good.
Yeah. Iceland formally objected to the global moratorium of 1986, and it even got sanctions in 2011 from the U.S. for the practice. But right now, at this point, it's unclear where the country's official stance will be. But right now, good for the whales. It helps the whales. So
yeah, that's great. Save the whales, y'all.
Save the whales, y'all. Save the whales.
There's a whole thing in Star Trek about that.
Oh
Yeah, we got a whole Star Trek about that. Exactly.
The whole damn movie.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
movies that was a big
Report.
thing, and in fact, it actually ties. Like, there's some. Oh, Callie Wright probably knows all about this.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
Guaranteed.
Whales,
who to go to.
is it whales and dolphins and navigation?
That's when you get Sequest, and that's a spin-off of Star Trek. There, see. I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
It's
I know
not.
Next Generation. That's pretty much it.
But the dolphins talk.
Okay. Nope. It's Sabrina's turn. Y'all be quiet.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Sabrina, you got a top 10 for us?
I do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if you did there.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I took actually your advice and I went and looked at history.
You took my advice?
I did.
It's not about whales and dolphins, because apparently
No,
that's
it's
what we're
not
doing
about
now.
whales and dolphins, but
You
it is
never
about
take my advice.
it is about our second chit chat to some extent.
Okay.
This is a really stupid protest going on in Canada, and I really don't see it going anywhere because, well, anyway, let's not go into that. But I thought, there got to be some protests that changed history, so I went and found some.
Oh,
nice.
So these are 10 protests that actually changed history.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm giving credit to buzzworthy.com because that's where I found this list.
Okay.
So, number 10, the storming of the Bastille.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I had to go way back for this one.
Yeah.
But on July 14th,
Going to the French Revolution? Yeah, that's a good way back.
Yeah, on July 14th, 1789, a mob of Parisians stormed the Bastille, which, of course, was a symbol of royal authority and luxury. They beheaded the governor, and they sparked the French Revolution. So what happened after that was a decade-long rebellion against the crown, and it led to the monarchy being overthrown and a republic being established.
Yeah.
Until Napoleon, of course.
Yeah. And the French Revolution was also one of the models that was used for the American Revolution. So, but they forgot to bring those good old guillotine in the U.S.
Yeah,
so
they needed the guillotine.
Maybe we should bring back the guillotine.
They should have beheaded somebody in the U.S. So, number 9 is one actually that I didn't really know about, so it's kind of interesting. Gandhi's Salt March.
Oh, of course.
So in the 30s, of course, salt was heavily taxed in India. So in protest, Gandhi went on a 241-mile march across Western India. His goal was to collect salt from the sea in defiance of the British government. And of course, his march inspired hundreds of Indians to refuse to pay the tax. And then, of course, he got arrested for his efforts. But the Salt March established him as a force to be reckoned with the struggles India had against British colonizers.
Okay, so it's safe to say that they were very salty about this.
Just a little bit.
Bang, bang. 5 points for that. There's one thing that people never understand about the whole Gandhi situation. Yeah, the British were dealing with Gandhi, but the British decided to deal with Gandhi because while Gandhi was also doing that, there was a much more violent faction of Indians attacking the British as well.
Yeah.
So they would rather deal with the more peaceful one than deal with the more violent ones.
Yeah. Gandhi's mission was, of course, to just peacefully protest and show that you can make change peacefully.
Exactly.
So, number 8 is the March on Washington on August 28th, 1963.
Ooh.
So, unlike this pathetic march on Canada's capital, in 1963, more than 200,000 supporters marched on D.C., calling for legislation to address systemic racism against people of color, especially the black population in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
During the march, of course, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his "I Have a Dream" speech at the base of the Lincoln Memorial, and it's been credited with building support for the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
No doubt.
And the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
No doubt.
I can't find my tongue today. It just won't move. Yeah, well,
I think it's in your mouth.
Wake up. Number 7 is the Selma to Montgomery March, which was on March 4th, 1964. So that was just a few months after the March on Washington. And while facing brutal opposition from the police, 8,000 activists marched from Selma, Alabama to the state's capital of Montgomery to demand black voter rights. This march led to President Johnson passing the Voter Rights Act, which of course forced all of the states in the U.S. to register black voters.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's video of that one. It's pretty brutal.
It is brutal. With the water
I was
cannons
like,
and
wow.
everything, it is brutal.
Yeah.
Just from trying to walk from this place to that place. That's it. Like,
Yeah, 50
Jesus.
miles just to get, some
Do not pass
recognition as
go. Do not
people.
collect $200.
Also notes that they closed down some of the highway with that march, which means that closing down highways with marches is historically correct.
That's right.
Looking at you, 94.
Yeah. So, number 6 are the Take Back the Night marches, which started in the 70s and they continue to this day. So these are the marches, people come out and march against violence against women.
Oh, nice.
And they're usually organized as a direct response to specific murders of women. So quite frankly, I wish they didn't have to happen at all. But they often happen on school, like university campuses. And it's basically saying, give us the right to walk around without fearing being raped or murdered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Seems so simple, right?
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy that we even have to do this.
I saw a list. I should bring it out. I don't know if there's 10 of them though, but it's ways to not get raped, and it's like don't go out and rape women. And
if
that's it.
Man spend like 5 minutes with a woman, and as she walks to her car, and she could say out loud everything she's thinking, they would be flabbergasted. Because I could walk around all the time without even thinking for a second I'm going to be jumped. But women have a plan. They go from that column to that column, and the keys in their hand, and then to that car, and then behind. Yeah, wow. It's insane. It's absolutely insane to live in that world of fear, and I really feel bad for women they have to do that.
I've been followed. I mean, it happens.
That was me.
No. Yes, but no. Anyways, number 5 is the Tiananmen Square March in May and June of 1989.
You remember the guy standing in front of the tank?
Yeah, that's one of many photos that are just very iconic from that day, or from that time. So starting in mid-1989, of course, China had a series of peaceful protests in favor of democratic reform. So that was happening in Tiananmen Square. So by June 4th, 1989, there was at least 1 million protesters that were peacefully occupying the square. And without any provocation at all, the government sent in tanks to open fire. There's we're never going to know how many people were killed that day. But the massacre, of course, has been captured by the famous photo of a single man facing off against a line of government tanks.
To this day, we don't know who that man was.
Nope.
Apparently, rumor is that he was quickly arrested by the authorities and executed. But
I'm sure he was.
We don't know. He's an unknown hero.
Yeah. Yeah. So number 4 is South Africa's National Day of Protest, which was on June 26, 1950. So sometimes it's more effective not to hit the streets and protest. Nelson Mandela's African National Congress called on workers to stay home in protest of the apartheid government's proposal to introduce a law that would allow it to investigate and potentially prohibit any political organization. So hundreds of thousands of South Africans took part in the stay-at-home protest, and the method was so impactful that it's been used several times over in the next decade.
Nice.
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting, God, we should just do that here.
Well, they try to do that.
Yeah.
Lobby for a 4-day work week. All of us just stay home on Fridays. And be like, no, we're not. No.
I'm good with that.
4-day work week. We're just going to stay home. You were going to say something?
No, I think it's a great idea, but unfortunately, I also think that people have a tendency to not participate in these things until they are miserable enough.
That's true.
If you're not going to participate if your life is it's okay. Then they're not going to care. They have to be really, really affected for them to actually get off the couch.
Yeah. Number 3 is the Monday demonstrations. So these went on from October 9th, 1989 to November 9th, 1989. So what happened is on Monday, October 9th, 1989, hundreds of Germans gathered in Leipzig, I think, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, to peacefully protest the communist regime. So the next week, thousands more gathered in other cities throughout East Germany. The Monday demonstrations continued every single week until November 9th, 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell. So, Number 2 is Euromaidan, which happened from November 21st, 2013 to February 22nd, 2014. This is after the Orange Revolution of 2004. Kiev's main square has set the scene for another huge protest in the winter of 2013 and 14. So when hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians protested the government's refusal to sign an agreement associating Ukraine with the European Union. The government snipers opened fire on the protesters who camped out in Maidan Square and used makeshift shields and burning tires to create smoke screen against the snipers. Meanwhile, Russian forces annexed Crimea from the Ukraine and combined Russian separatist forces and sparked the war in the east of the country, which continues until today.
Yeah, how apropos, right?
Yeah, of what's going on.
What's going on right now?
They were using snipers on a crowd?
On
Jesus Christ. That's fucking nuts. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awful.
And so the number one is the Arab Spring, which happened from December 2010 to October 2013.
I remember that.
Yeah, so this started in Tanzania in December 2010. So they saw a string of political demonstrations and revolts. The most famous probably happened in Tahrir, which is Liberation Square, in January 2011, where more than a million where more than 1 million Egyptians gathered to force President Mubarak to step down. But protests rang throughout North Africa and the Middle East for several years. The Tanzanian fruit vendor who started it all and the hundreds of thousands that followed his lead inspired Time magazine to name the protester their person of the year in 2011.
Wow. A lot of these protests are actually fairly recent. I'm actually quite impressed by this list.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We're still fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Change isn't happening sometimes, but we're still fighting. And one that I didn't mention that I think we should, because it's actually a bunch of protests, are the movement that happened after George Floyd's murder.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're seeing change happen since then. And I think it's going to continue.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it happen, and I've said it before. It's happening a lot in the media. You see it change on mainstream television.
That
Crime
is
dramas
true.
are changing. Hospital dramas are changing. A lot of the drama that TV that happens at prime time is changing. It's including people just being gay for being gay. They're not like, oh, look at us, we're gay. It's just like, oh, I'm going home to my husband.
Yeah.
And it's just like normal. And they're normalizing change in like police dramas. And they're like, okay, let's show it that we're changing it. You know, anyway, that's where change starts. Think of Golden Girls and allowing talking about AIDS and talking about all those things that they brought to light in the 80s. And that's what brings change. So hopefully we're starting to see.
Or even more recent than that, the what was that show, musical Glee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were credited for helping a lot of the LGBT community, you know, making just normalizing things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Things that make you go, All right, Ben, what do you got for us?
I've got something for you today. So the suspect was caught wandering around a security area at the Pentagon. Yeah. And somehow the suspect got into the Pentagon. But I want you guys to make some guesses here about this suspect.
It's a ninja. Clearly a ninja. Okay.
Over this. Same ninja we had a few weeks ago to attack the soldiers, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Yes. They called security.
Right. No, I actually called the local cops that showed up.
Oh, yeah.
But
Right.
I remember
okay. So, no, not a ninja.
QAnon supporter who is trying to get into the DC basement.
The basement.
The secret basement, not the
deep,
regular basement.
Right.
Yeah, the deep underground military basement.
Or I will venture it's a 9/11 truther.
Okay.
It's a raccoon.
Next level.
It's Rocket.
So good guesses.
Yeah.
Guesses.
And a tree.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. Sabrina's the closest. It was a chicken.
Oh, man.
A chicken?
A chicken.
Damn,
a wandering chicken was caught sneaking around the security area.
Do chickens sneak?
That's what they said. It was a hen.
Tiptoes.
It was found early Monday morning near the U.S. Department of Defense headquarters. The Animal Welfare League of Arlington, Virginia wrote on social media, and this is the best part, apparently the answer to why did the chicken cross the road is to get to the Pentagon.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like wearing a camera like Acoustic Kitty.
Oh my God, it's such... the Russians have...
Can chickens be trained?
For any of you that are worried, the chicken has been taken into custody. They are not allowed to disclose exactly where the chicken was found, but they can only say it was at a security checkpoint.
For everybody picturing like a chicken like zip lining down the wall, you know, we see you and we love you.
And if you're curious, the chicken is a Rhode Island red, and nobody knew. Like, it's very unclear where this chicken came from and how the chicken got to the Pentagon.
No kidding. Escaped off the back of a truck.
Yeah.
I just love Brent Lee's idea of the chickens.
I love it.
Dun, dun.
So the chicken is now known as Henny Penny, one of the names given to the chicken that thinks the sky is falling.
Henny Penny. That's even funny. Oh God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does she also
Don't worry,
just
Henny.
throw her hat and puts on the coat there, like the James Bond thing?
Yeah.
Henny Penny's been adopted and is going to be taken care of by in a small farm in Western Virginia. So don't worry.
Yay!
Henny Penny's going to live a good life.
And a farm up
Prepare
north.
Until we eat it.
Farm up north. Sure.
Farm
sure.
up north.
Sure, that's how that works, y'all.
Yeah, I can see all the general, I can see all the generals at the Pentagon. Just look at this rotisserie. You tell us what you know, chicken, on this.
But imagine that call. So, like, you're working the security checkpoint, and you're like, "I got to report everything." What the? And you have to pick up the phone and be like, "Okay, I got to put this report in. There's something in the security area," and they're like, "Oh, go apprehend it." Like, I don't know what to do with the chicken, and they're like, "What chicken? What?"
Yeah.
Even better than that.
I'm not in Karate Kid. What the hell? Like, I'm not doing this.
That, Benjamin, because when he reported there was an intruder, the alarm went off, and then there was a SWAT team coming around the corner. It's just to point out where he has this poor chicken. Just clucking around.
Right, like I see all these guys and they're like all their gear with their like guns, and they're just chasing after this chicken, trying to catch it.
One has a couple of eyes, drop the gun, and come this big butterfly in it and try to catch it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say though, Kevin, it wouldn't be a SWAT team; it would be Green Berets and Navy SEAls,
Right?
Yeah.
which makes it better.
And the Navy SEAls are actually SEAls, though, you know? And
Okay,
Yes.
that would be fine.
Back to whales and dolphins.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to sea mammals. Oh, thank you so much for that, Benjamin. Always funny one. All right, Hertzy, you got another Schadenfreude?
Nope, Bigot of the week.
No, it's Bigot of the week.
Whatever you want to call it.
Because I actually wanted to talk about Greg Locke's continuation of the satanic panic by convincing his followers to burn their kids' Disney items, which just to side note here. Yes, they're buying the tarot cards and such, but think of how many Disney items their kids probably have, and they're burning all of that. I actually watched some of the video, and there's like a Maleficent figure in there, and I'm like, you didn't go to the Disney store for that one, did you? You took that from your kid's toy chest. You asshole.
You burn a Maleficent figure, isn't she going to turn into a dragon? That's what happens in the movie.
That would have been so much cooler. No, instead they just polluted a bunch of the air by burning a lot of plastic. I do laugh though, because they also were going to burn a bunch of crystals, and I'm like, great idea. Let's burn rock. Because that's worked so well in the past.
It's not working. Crank up the heat. Crank it up. Couldn't get more gasoline over here.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, the headline I'm talking about actually Sabrina Kazi hinted at. Because technically this should be good news. Minneapolis and Minnesota temporarily suspended the use of no-knock warrants.
Yay.
Oh gosh, should be good news is kind of the key words here.
Oh no! What?
Yeah, no.
This is not a proactive thing that is done by data gathering and evidence and such. It is and first off, it's temporary, so we don't know if this will become permanent. But it's also a reactionary measure to another life lost to the ridiculous actions taken by police departments. Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022 at 7:00 in the morning, 22-year-old Amir Locke was killed by a no-knock warrant. Body camera footage has been released, and it shows Amir was on the couch. Everyone's talking about how he's laying on the couch covered by a blanket. It's like he's probably sleeping because it's 7 in the fucking morning.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he's a DoorDash driver, which means he's probably had a late night. He probably hasn't gotten that much sleep. Yeah. So we have the body footage. Everyone agrees that, yes, he did have a gun. He also had a conceal and carry permit. And
Wait,
it's
y'all
one of
need
those...
permits for those in your state?
Yes, we at least need a permit. But according to the
Proof that
family,
owning a gun is more likely to get you killed by a fucking gun. Just saying.
very true. However, this is one of those things where if you look at the body camera footage, which we are not going to be showing because that does not, you can find it if you want to, but the time between them crashing in and firing upon Amir was about 10 seconds.
Jesus.
So, gun
So they
or
went
no,
there with the intention to kill him.
they went in with an intention to kill probably anybody.
Yeah.
Interesting notes about this. First off, peaceful demonstrators have already been out in the streets of downtown Minneapolis. To put this in perspective, for those of you of warmer climates, the high the last week has been 7.
Jeez.
That's bloody cold in Celsius. That's
I was going to say that is Fahrenheit, which is still bloody cold. And that is without
that's like
wind...
minus something in Celsius.
Oh, it
That's
is.
Yeah.
burr.
Yeah. That is without a wind chill, which oftentimes will bring it the feels like temperature down to about 10 degrees or so. People have already started to look into Amir Locke's criminal history because, of course, he is a person of color, and therefore we can't leave that alone. Lo and behold, there's nothing to find. So I'll have fun with watching that. And it really pisses me off when they have to justify this because I'm like, I don't care if they've been caught with weed. That doesn't mean they get to.
That's part that he has no record, so what they have nothing to
They've got nothing to stand
he
on.
did.
Yeah, he didn't even get caught with fucking weed.
You're gonna hear the stories of how somebody's like, I talked to this person who's my dog's uncle's cousin's bird's friend that grew up with him in high school, and he did this one bad thing one time.
Yeah, so that totally justified the cops opening fire in 10 seconds.
That guy was totally friend with that chicken at the panic. I can tell.
Just a note, though, he was not on the warrant. He wasn't part of this group at all. He was visiting this person's apartment.
Just like that other girl whose name I can't remember because I'm
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, Breonna Taylor.
Yep. In fact, there's a lot of people comparing the two. Minnesota Attorney General Ellison is being pulled into this, which I think that he should start charging the Minneapolis Police Department for the hours he has to do, so looking into their issues. Let's see, what else do I have on here? Sorry.
You know, all this could be solved so easily in the States if police training was more than 3 weeks.
Yep.
Right.
That would also help. Interesting note, St. Paul, which is the one who is doing the actual investigation, does have a thing against no-knock warrants. They asked Minneapolis to execute the warrant because I believe the apartment may have been in Minneapolis, and Minneapolis Police Department insisted on this being no-knock, which then begs the question, why is St. Paul allowing them to do that?
Exactly.
It's one of those, it's like, if they're willing to go that far, then maybe we shouldn't work with them.
Right.
So
there are countries in Europe, for example, that I think it's Switzerland. I think you're at the academy in Switzerland for like 3 years.
Oh, yes.
Given a gun and you're out on the street patrol.
There's
3 years.
There's also the problem that a lot of police unions will give free training for things like warrior training, which just keeps going with the fear mongering that they have. Now, technically, that kind of training is illegal in Minnesota. However, the unions still do it anyways, because fuck that. They have a lot of power, and it's the only union. I am 100% for breaking up. Yeah. Opponents for no-knock warrants are getting rid of no-knock warrants state that the police will walk off the force if we get rid of them. And considering all of this evidence of how many people die in this, I figure that's the safest thing for everyone involved.
You know what? You did that threat of they'll walk off the force. They did the same thing for COVID and the vaccine mandate. Yeah, they didn't. You know, there was like maybe 1 or 2 that really did that, but besides that, they didn't.
Well, and hilariously, COVID right now is one of the biggest killers of cops, and I'm just sitting here going,
That's right. That's right.
Looks like the trash is taking itself out on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let them walk out. Like that's exactly what we want. We want the way the police are right now to all leave, and we need to just restructure this whole fucking thing.
I agree. So if
Agreed.
they're gonna walk out because of this, I can't have a no knock, so I'm gonna walk out. Okay, bye.
What a
See ya.
fucking weird hill to die on. What the
Oh,
hell?
yeah.
Like, why is that so important?
Exactly.
It's not safe for you either, Mr. Policeman, because when you break into somebody's house, you're in America. You know you're in America, right? Everybody has guns.
has a fucking gun, and they
Like,
have a complex of like, I'm gonna kill the bad guy.
Yeah, and so it's not safe for them. It's not safe for the people in that. It's not. It's just a terrible idea.
That's part of the reason that they wanted the no knock is because the person they're actually going against allegedly has a history, and I'm going. And walking in on them in the middle of the morning is going to be better,
right?
Right? What are you trying to get?
On the element of surprise.
Yeah,
I feel like there are better ways to do this, just in general. If you open your eyes and think.
Right, you can surprise them with a knock too, man. Like, how much time does that really buy you? Like,
You could, admit it, they are police. They could kind of stalk the house and basically grab him while he's taking the trash out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I
that
guess
takes
that
more
takes too
time,
much-
and it's
yeah.
not near as much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what.
Ask
Like,
me
I feel
if
like
I care about how much fun they have.
I feel like a big giant badass just rolling in, kicking that fucking door in with my gun out, ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Well, half the time when they shoot people, it's because they don't want to chase after them. It's like they have the license plate, they driving out, they're going towards the car, or whatever. And they're like, I just don't feel like tracking them down and doing police work. Let's just execute this guy right now. And
Yeah.
it's pathetic. They're fucking lazy.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Herzi. All right, Bradley, it's time for another brilliant moment.
Yes.
By religion.
Oh yeah.
That's right. We got our old pal, Robin Bullock.
I thought I
Yeah.
recognized that face.
Yes.
I can see the
And
video that we're gonna look at.
Just before you go on Robin there, Brent, Herzi quickly mentioned Greg Locke and his stupid
Oh God,
book
yeah.
burning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell you something, guys, a country that's willing to burn books is going to be willing to burn people eventually.
Fact.
Ding
Yeah,
ding ding
I see that.
ding.
Yeah.
Granted, they
Especially
did.
that guy. They're probably already ready for it, actually.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, this is not the first time those groups have done it. They did a lot in the 80s and 90s. So
I remember that. too.
No group in the history of mankind that's been burning books have been the good guys. None
Nope.
of them.
Nope.
None.
Nope.
Just remember
yeah.
that.
Anyway,
Anyway,
diversion.
sorry.
Sorry, Brent.
Back
Oh,
on
you're
to
good.
another brilliant moment.
Yeah. So Robin Bullock here is I'm not really sure who he's talking to. It's a different show. We're used to seeing him on Steve Schultz, but Steve Schultz has had COVID, so he hasn't been around as much
You mean the
lately.
power of Cat Kerr hasn't protected him?
No.
I know, right? You'd think with
Scary.
all these profits coming on there, it would bounce right off of them.
Just
You know.
think, I know
Yeah.
some of that profit
Do you-
juice kind of rubs off them.
do you think he's going to get a Herman Cain Award?
No, I don't think so.
No,
He's
he
gonna.
recovered, right?
Yeah, he just recovered. Yeah, he's back at it again, unfortunately.
Oh,
But Robin Bullock is at it again, and I'd love to be able to break this down like in any way that makes sense, but I can't do it. There's a chart. There's yarn. I mean, it's a whole thing. You're gonna have to just check out
You
this
have a
clip.
video to load up for us here.
Yeah.
Is there a dry erase board?
Oh no.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, not a dry erase, but it's
I
a
can go
chart.
get it.
And if you look at the chart, it's ridiculous. It's like this year means like 2, and this year means 3,
Oh, God.
and this
Yeah.
year it's like equals. It's so ridiculous.
I'm
So the
looking
only thing
forward to
missing is
seeing
Glenn
this.
Beck here.
Yeah,
I was going to say this. They're Jeff Goldbluming all of this.
seriously, dude. Like it's just batshit. And then he draws on it with like a Sharpie thing to like connect these ears to those ears. But look here,
Just like the tornadoes.
yeah,
From the footage.
almost.
Okay. Okay, let's see this. I
Oh,
can't
God.
wait.
Just click it.
Oh, I got it.
Another brilliant moment.
Can the music do?
The Lord said, connect the corners. Just connect the corners.
Are we playing Jeopardy now?
And so I did.
I know, right?
And it made a
Look at the chart.
corridor that went Look at the corners from the same cubed numbers.
Does
Do
he
you have
have a
that chart?
sword in his background?
Put that one up. Look at that.
What?
Look at that. It made a hallway that spanned time.
Oh.
The occult, they're using that. They knew that. Satan is.
Hold on. Is anyone looking at the woman host at the top? All she's doing is shaking her head.
I don't think they're buying it, honestly. They're like, oh, okay.
No.
It's a hallway. It's a hallway through time.
So
I'm
somebody
also
help
looking
me.
at the box. It's not connected to any corners.
I know. Nothing's
right. Well, it is connected to the 2009 corner to 2036, and it's passing through 2018, 2027. I'm
No,
confused.
Sabrina. If you look here, I drew what looks like a hallway. So clearly,
Yeah.
there's a hallway, and it's clearly through time because
Yeah.
I
What kind of
drew
hallway-
it over different dates.
If
And
the hallway fell
clearly-
over, maybe. What the fuck is that kind of hallway?
No, clearly it's a demon hallway through time,
So
inspired by
They walk
Satan.
on their side.
did nobody teach him math? Because what I'm seeing is he's adding like all the numbers in the years together.
Yeah, he's doing numerology.
And 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 9 equals 11. I mean, okay. And 2 plus 1 plus 8 also equals 11. Like, congratulations. And I have this, like, I know it's going to shock you, and I'm really glad you are all sitting down. But if you go
Okay.
on the diagonal, every one of those is going to add to 11. I know. It's hard to believe.
It's
but
just
this
how
is
math works.
Yeah, that's
But you know, to go back on the hallway there, that actually looks more like the air vent where John McClane was in.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
yeah, that's
Mr.
right.
Bruce.
Crawling.
So John
through.
McClane is the Antichrist,
I was
and
gonna
it
say,
went
looks-
through time.
It looks like something that I would doodle when I was bored.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I can't even see where the connection is of how this is supposed to work because I'm just looking. Wait, look at the corners for what? Like
And
you
really-
throw that box anywhere on this thing, it's gonna do
It's
something.
gonna
It's gonna
work.
look like something, I guess.
If you look, it goes 2, then 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. Anyways,
The mathematician, magic has its own base in math. Everything
did you guys
is
know
in
that
that
magic
legal time. And
has a
so a
basis in
quarter
math?
was created. A spirit went from 2008, walked in past the rapture into the time of the Antichrist, and that spirit walked back down that corridor, and Obama was a duplicate of the Antichrist all the way till he
What?
left office.
Oh,
It
so
brought
this is
that
the
spirit
Obama
back
Antichrist.
into our
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'd like to say I'm surprised by this, but no,
It goes
not
even
really.
So is he saying a spirit came back through that corner of time and became Barack Obama? I have no idea what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
that's why you
duplicate.
can't get his birth certificate.
So
because he was born in
So
the
it's-
future.
is it a duplicate
Satan.
Antichrist? Because I thought Prince William was the Antichrist.
No, it's clearly Obama, as indicated by his tan suit.
Yes, yeah,
And his
that's
love
it.
of mustard.
His love of mustard. We all know the Antichrist loves mustard.
Duh.
But-
That was
yeah.
in the Bible.
Oh, God. This hurts my
This is
brain
great.
just thinking about this.
okay.
So wait, are we going to get another Antichrist in 2035?
That's when the
Apparently.
That's where
unduplicate.
he walked to was 2035, and then he walked back, and it
I-
was 2009, and he was president.
I kind of want to describe that for you, just the audio podcasters. So,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
we have a chart that goes from 2000 all the way to 2069 in columns, 8 columns, and they're just adding up the numbers. Numerology. 2000 is 2 plus 000, so it equals 2.
And then,
2001
yeah,
equals 3.
3,
Anyway,
and then
to
4, all the way
2009,
down
every
to
decade.
11, and then it goes, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 12.
And then
'cause
he
that's how it
decides
works.
arbitrarily to draw
Yeah.
a flat box, 3-dimensional flat box
Yeah.
from 2008 and 2009 on the equal sign for some reason.
Yeah.
And
All the way to 2035 on the diagonal.
yeah,
And
2045.
then
Yeah, it's-
across to 2010, and then on the diagonal to 2046.
Yeah, it's basically just picture a see-through box of cereal, breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
And that's
Or a
you
box
just
of
chose
pasta,
that.
better yet, box of spaghetti.
There you go.
Or a really long drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an air duct.
Like Kevin was saying.
or a really long block of time traveling cheese that is super delicious.
You're just now everybody's just getting confused. All right, we're
Okay,
all just
now this is
confusing
just
them.
later cheese.
Okay, so
Time traveling cheese.
The cheese travels through time, so you constantly have cheese from the year 2008 to the year 2036. It's great.
Is this why
Best
the cheese
ever.
stands alone?
This is smarter than me.
Exactly, that's what that's about. Because that's a
know when
witch
it's
spell for this hallway. That's why the cheese stands alone.
Perfect. So let's hear what else he has to say.
Time, and it was present in our world until 2015. And at 2015, CERN had set itself to open a portal
Oh my
on
God, CERN.
9/23 of that same year, and they were going to open this portal up to another dimension and invite somebody over.
See, there's the portal. See the portal there?
I saw the
What?
portal, but 2015 wasn't in the cube. What the hell?
That's right.
I'm confused.
His 2015 was nothing of 2015.
No.
Oh God.
My head hurts.
You guys aren't using the spirit when you're looking at the chart.
Right.
And what was the point of this at the end of the day? What was he trying to do?
Something
We know
about
what he was trying to do?
something about
that
earning money,
Obama-
and that's Obama's fault somehow.
Obama and science
Thanks,
are bad.
Obama.
That's what he did. Obama and science are bad. That's what he was
Obama science
after.
and math are bad.
Because science is CERN, and they open portals to. They weren't just opening a portal; they were opening a portal to invite somebody over.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like, did they have like a stationery that they wrote the invite on? How do you invite them over?
I'm not
The Black Tie Affair.
sure.
You do magic with numbers. Magic by my numbers, you know?
Oh, so you just throw a bunch of numbers into like a bag, like kind of like the
paint by
Scrabble
numbers?
bag, but numbers?
Yes.
You shake it up and you throw the numbers into the portal, and then the demon comes over.
They're coordinates.
That
Okay.
makes
Do you guys
perfect
think that this
sense.
is done like this? Obviously makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but it is absolutely said with conviction, and I think it's almost like he's purposely trying to confuse people. That people say, whatever. I'll just go with whatever
exactly.
you say."
He made no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, often our another brilliant moments make no sense to me, and I always think that it's because I'm really stoned, but I'm thinking it's because they're kind of just don't make sense.
Well, yeah, but I think the followers exactly that's it, right? They say, "Oh, I have no idea what's going on," but the pastor said Obama, so that's bad.
Yeah.
So, but
Then they said CERN, so science is bad. That's his whole point.
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah.
And then he used math to draw the cube, so math bad too.
Yep. They really
Math
do
is
have
used
to
to
like
magic.
keep it going though. You know, it's the same thing over and over again with Obama and stuff. And it's one of those, it's like nobody's paying attention to Obama except you.
But
I have no idea what Obama is doing. Every so often a tweet comes up saying, "Hey y'all, we should probably support the climate change stuff." And then that's it. He goes back to nothing.
Yeah, but my dear Hertz, this is exactly what a pastor like Leather would say. Yes, you're not paying attention to Obama, so he's working behind the scenes.
Well, he's working at Netflix to program the brains of all those Netflix and chill folks. Okay.
It's Obama's turn as puppet master.
That's right.
Oh
And,
yeah.
like we saw on Unapologetics, they could contradict themselves week after week.
Yep.
One week it was Obama the puppet master. The next week after that was Hillary, and the next week after that was George Soros, and the next week after that was.
Yeah.
You would think with this many puppet masters, it'd be like too many cooks in the kitchen, and it would spoil the soup.
A lot of strings.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah.
strings.
Yeah.
This is why nobody else is allowed in my kitchen.
Fine, I won't cook you food then.
Just
I was going to say, how would you get it here?
If I'm there, at some point, I'll be in Minnesota, and I'm going to be like, man, I could make Hertzie some food. But no, she's got that no kitchen rule.
Some Tex-Mex.
You don't need to threaten Hertzie with that, Benjamin. Thank you so much, Friendly.
Hey, wow.
Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have John the Godless Engineer. So stay with us.
No.
This is where the atheists gather. This is home. This is LATV 2.0.
I'm Amy with a Y.
And I'm Amy with an I.
And we're the hosts of Secular Soup, where each week we offer up a bowl of real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever else we want to talk about because it's our podcast.
Just listen to what these random dudes are saying about our show.
This is what would happen if Daria and Jane grew up and started a podcast.
So if you like extremely foul-mouthed ladies with opinions, this is the podcast for you.
Grab a bowl and taste the magic. Slurp even this.
Hi, I'm God, and I just wanted to make sure to tell you not to listen to Unapologetics on Stitcher and SoundCloud. That's Unapologetics with an X at the end. But, yeah, definitely do not listen to this show. I mean, I swear to me, alright, I will murder my son. Well, I mean, I kind of already did that, but just don't listen to the show, okay? Hey, Lucy.
Can you not call me that, okay? We already went over what my name is, okay? It's Lucifer.
Alright, look, Luce. You wanna come with me? I'm gonna go fuck with this guy, Joe.
No, don't do that, okay? Can you just leave him alone?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill his family.
No, don't do that.
I'm gonna give him sores all over his body.
Don't do that. That's disgusting.
And, I'm gonna kill all of his livestock. You know?
Stop saying things. Just stop.
I'm gonna blame the whole thing on you. Alright, let's go, bud. Remember, don't listen to Unapologetics on Stitcher and SoundCloud.
Hey, definitely listen to that show. It's awesome. It's really cool. He's really a dick.
I heard that.
All right, our next returning champion is John the Godless Engineer, a sensation on YouTube and the bane of flat earthers everywhere. He's a snappy dresser and a snazzy dancer. John, welcome back to the show.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
No. You gotta do, hey, heathens. You gotta do your head.
Oh, okay. So, what's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Is that what I need to do?
Excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like you've done that before.
Yeah.
Totally made my day. John, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. It's been a while, my friend. How have you been?
I've been pretty good, just grinding it out on YouTube, and I actually got moved into a house, so that's why you see this whole setup behind me now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going great, like I said, just grinding it out.
Yeah, you moved from that cardboard box, and now you're in an actual house. That's fantastic, man. I really
for
you. For those of us that may not have been present the first time you came around to Left of the Valley, maybe you'll be so kind to give us a quick bio as to who John the Godless Engineer is.
Yeah, so I'm a YouTube creator, and I have multiple social media platforms or whatnot that I'm on. Mostly YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Not really so much on Facebook these days, but I've also got a TikTok now that I post on occasionally. If anybody does the TikToks,
I do.
But I cover a lot of intersection between like history, religion, and like politics and religion, science and like pretty much anywhere religion intersects, our lives. I try to cover on my channel, and I have a few things on my channel that I really like to harp on, and one of those is history, but the other one is also sort of responding to misconceptions about atheists and atheism in general. So if you're looking for that kind of content, then I'm probably right up your alley.
Yeah, and John, you're an actual engineer and probably one of the nicest guys I know. John is every time I ask John a favor and something like that, he just answers with a yes. So you gotta love the guy. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm an actual engineer. I have 2 engineering degrees. I got a bachelor's in computer engineering, and then I got a master's in software engineering.
Damn! Wow. Okay, so I got a computer problem with my Windows 10. Maybe I'm just kidding.
No.
I was gonna say I'm a software engineer, not a tech specialist.
There's difference.
I don't know. You sound
Okay,
like
so
you
I
sound
need a
like-
program.
Yeah.
give us a quick genesis on how did you start this whole Godless Engineer YouTube sensation there? How did you begin all that? What was the inspiration of it?
Well, so how it really all began goes back to 2012, and that because that's when I graduated with my master's in software engineering, and pretty much after high school and up until that point, like I was purely just focused on like school and work, and because of that, I didn't really have a lot of time for much of anything else. And once I graduated with my master's, I wasn't planning on doing a PhD because that wasn't going to help me like career wise. Like it would have been nice for the where I worked at, like they could just count one more doctor, in their organization, but it wasn't gonna advance me really in my career. So I decided not to do a doctorate at least immediately, and I just started working. And the issue, I guess, with that was that I had a lot of spare time on my hand, and so I just kind of started posting on like Facebook and places like that. This sort of new view on things that I had because I had realized that I was an atheist just maybe like a couple years or so before this point, and so with all this extra time on my hand, and I was posting things just as myself, it started really making my relatives mad and other people that I knew, and so I was like, well, I'll just create a Facebook page and I will, I'll post under that so that, only people that will interact with me through that, I guess, persona or that outlet would really know what I'm saying. So it kind of separates it from my family members and everything like that. And so what I did was I sat there and I tried to figure out, well, what do I want to call, this page? And, I didn't want to just be like another atheist, whatever, like atheist engineer or whatever kind of thing like that. And so I'm like, well, Godless Engineer. And a lot of people like to kind of make fun of it, like as if I'm proposing some kind of new engineering field or something like that. But it's really just, it's very personal to me because like the two kind of the important things that were happening to me at that point was me expressing this new worldview that I had, and that was important, and really kind of finding my way around that conversation. And then there was also being an engineer, because I'd worked for the past 9 to 10 years. Going to school for engineering degrees, and so that was a pretty big part of my life. And so I was like, Godless Engineer, that makes sense. And the name was free on Facebook. I'm like, perfect. And so I did that. I started creating like images to share on Facebook and everything like that. And I started getting noticed more and more. Bigger pages would notice me, and a couple of them wanted me to come on and make like memes for them and everything like that. So I mean, I just kind of gradually progressed that direction. And then one day on the page, I was in an argument on my page with somebody, and they were like, "It's easy to say this, behind an avatar on Facebook. Nobody knows, you're saying this." And I had watched a few content creators on YouTube before. I'm like, I can do this. Like, I don't have any problem like putting myself out there like that. And so I made a few response videos to things, and I mean they did all right, I guess. But they were looking back on them now, they were pretty cringy. But
it's always like that.
Yeah. And so I mean that's kind of how the whole thing kind of got started, was just wanting to kind of take it, I guess, to I say the next level, but just sort of like a different place, doing like activism in the atheist sphere and everything like that. So that's where the GE YouTube page started. And one of the first big things I got noticed for was there was this Tennessee pastor who had a whole sermon on how we should still be segregating the races and stuff, and he linked it to scripture and everything. And so I was able to get the actual footage from their website. I downloaded it and I just picked out I think it was like maybe a 20-minute spot where he was going on about it, and I put it on my channel, and it got picked up a lot of places. Like Raw Story picked it up, Hemet Meta on the Friendly Atheist, he picked it up, and so it was it got a lot of notoriety, and that actually, but they eventually copyright claimed the video and had it taken down, and so I couldn't do anything on the channel for like 6 months.
Damn.
And then after that 6 months was up, I decided like, well, I want to start making response videos because I really like doing that, and so that's just kind of how I got the ball rolling on doing the YouTube content and stuff. And now we're kind of here.
It's very interesting because in a way, the way that you're responding to these videos could almost be described as this fictional godless engineering that don't actually exist, but you're actually kind of creating it in a way. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And your videos are quite helpful too. I just actually the other day I was doing this. I found Eric Hovind. He did a breakdown of and he said this will blow every atheist's mind, And I went through and he had some part about the population, and just I was trying to figure it out as a reaction. It wasn't a response because this was just me reacting to it. But at the moment I was like, I know this is wrong, I just don't know why. I just can't really break it down. But and immediately after I found your video, I think it came out a couple hours after I had finished. I was like, oh, there it is. It broke down exactly. It's very helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah, I try to bring some information on top of trying to also present some entertainment in it. And so that typically a lot of people blow right past the educational part and they just focus on the entertainment part of it. But I do there's a couple genres of video, or not genres but subjects for videos that I spend a lot of time researching. Creationism is one of them, and then of course the historicity of Christianity. That's another one where I spend a great amount of time researching and really considering the reasons why they're wrong about what they're saying.
Right. Yeah, I guess that was my next question, but I guess you kind of answered it. Which topic actually you dive in the most? But let's go to a different one. They say serious people have serious enemies, and you're serious enough to have some pretty interesting people trying to come after you, John. Which one that really gets into your crawl? One of these theists that really kind of tries to come at you. Which one? Which one would it be?
There's a lot of them out there that just really don't like me, and I've noticed that religious people, especially the very fundamentalist ones, they go zero to childish super quick, and there's a few people. I've actually had someone do up a thumbnail that is where it was me and Matt Dillahunty doing a call-in show, and they dressed both Matt Dillahunty and myself up like we were women, and I don't really care about that part, that doesn't bother me. But what the one thing that I thought was hilarious about it was that apparently I'm just not fat enough for them. So what they did was they took my face and they blew it up to where I'm about 5 times bigger than I actually am, and then they dressed me up like a woman, and they're meaning this to be derogatory, but I'm just sitting there like, this is hilarious because I don't take offense to any of that. It's hilarious because of the fact that these are supposed to be the people that are on the morally good side, right? They're supposed to be the bastions of morality, and supposedly you can't be an atheist and be a moral person and all this other stuff. And then here they are being misogynistic and being very just hateful in general. And so it's kind of like that irony, really, that's funny. But the person I'm talking about, one is called Praise I Am. He's kind of a fundamentalist Christian on here. That person kind of gets me. And then from a more condescending type of position, people like Inspiring Philosophy, I guess, are kind of the ones that really grate on me, because the smugness that they have to their videos, especially when they're referencing me, kind of grates on me a little bit.
It's ironic, but I mean, don't worry about the whole calling you fat thing, because apparently I'm the fat one on the show too. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yes.
And when somebody calls himself Praise I Am, that sounds like a really bad Christian version of Dr. Seuss. So I wouldn't really worry about it.
Either that or they're trying to do Yoda.
Right. Have you had a whack whacking atheist yet? Has he gotten to you yet?
Oh no, Kent Hovind. I don't think that he'll touch me on whacking atheists, and that's primarily because I've the last interaction that I had with him came about this wonderful meme about whale penises, and so that's been a major focus on my channel, like as far as like just a general sort of a tangential meme that just sort of runs through all of the live streams and everything like that. And for those of you that maybe not know this particular meme on my channel, or haven't heard of this, so I was in a debate with Kent Hovind, and I don't take Kent Hovind seriously, for one, and for two, I didn't even like, I'm known on my channel for being a bit provocative when it comes to like, I guess how I describe prayer and filleting Jesus and things of that nature. And I'm not scared to talk about those particular topics, and one of the reasons why I do that is because it does make some of the more fundamentalist Christians I guess wince, or it makes them uncomfortable a little bit. So it's just kind of, I guess, maybe a bit of a shock factor kind of comedy. But yeah, anyways, so I'm known for that, but I did not bring up anything penile related in the debate. All right, I'm sitting there having a serious debate with him. I'm bringing up information and facts and how he's wrong, and arguing against what he's saying. But Kent Hovind really only cares about evolution. He cares about whether or not the flood happened, which is what the debate was on. But what his bread and butter really is evolution, and trying to debunk that. And so during the debate, he wanted to get into evolution. And so we started talking about evolution. And I mentioned whale evolution as evidence of this change in kind that they are always talking about, right? Because it's a land mammal that migrated, into the ocean and turned into a whale, losing its hind legs, gaining flippers, and all this other stuff, but still remaining, mammals and all that other kind of stuff.
They still have hip bones.
Huh?
They still have hip bones.
Hip
right.
bone.
Hip
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bones. Yeah.
I brought that up.
And that threw me
I
off.
know.
No, they might have hippos too. But they're
Hippopotamus.
So
Hip
anyways,
bones.
I bring that up in the debate, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking about how they have these vestigial limbs, which show that they once had hind legs, but they have since went away because they don't need hind legs. They just have the flipper, or the tail in the water, so they don't need the hind legs, and so they've evolved out of that particular group of organisms. And out of nowhere, Kent Hovind is like, "What do you mean it's vestigial? Whales have a 15-foot penis that they've got to maneuver in the water, and so they need that in order to guide it whenever they have sex." And I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, so immediately I knew what I had to do. Okay, right.
Get a marine biologist.
No. So immediately I was like, I'm sorry, Kent, a 15-foot what? I couldn't hear you. And because I was trying to get him to say, like, I was going to see how many times could I get him to say penis in this debate. And, you know, he only said it the one time because he caught on quick. And he's just like, oh, I see what you're doing. Are you a pervert or something? And
of course,
like, I'm not the one who brought up penises.
Right.
I'm not the one thinking about whale.
Right.
You're like, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of bored. How do whales bang? Okay.
Jesus.
I always thought that Ken Hovind was a bit of a big dick anyway.
Dude, I was actually taught his stuff in my homeschooling group. They made us watch his videos and then take notes and had to like take tests based on it and everything. Yeah. Crazy.
Oh man. I'm sorry about that.
How much stuff about whale biology did they have you take?
Right?
None? I'm guessing none.
Well, yeah, no, I don't remember that. Well, I do remember it being like they said that it was closer to the surface because it was a big animal that was able to fight its way to the surface, and that's why all the bigger animals are close. I don't know. It was some argument that they
do know that sperm whales are some of the whales that go the deepest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're expecting them to know scientific facts here, and I just don't think that. You know,
I think we can break Ken Hovind is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so that particular instance on that debate is, I think, the reason why he probably won't mention me like in a Whack the Atheist or anything like that. Either he feels like he's already whacked me off enough, or you know,
that was my next joke. Damn it!
Maybe either that, or maybe he just doesn't want to give me the time of day because I make him say penis. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that he'll ever whack me off on his live stream.
You know, next time you see Ken Hovind, you should ask, you know, since you're so obsessed with penises, maybe you should ask you how big was Jesus' penis, because he's God after all. He had to get himself a big schlong.
Kevin, what? Everyone knows that Jesus was hung.
Well, yeah, he was.
Jesus. Oh my God.
He had a lot of wood, that's for sure.
As I've said this before, Jesus was hung, but he liked to get nailed. So it's always a shame when someone is hung as a bottom. So
what a waste, you know.
What a waste.
Oh my Lord.
All right. So anyway, trying to get by
Let's go back on track here.
Poor Johnny's already regretting the decision to come on the show.
No, not at all. I love hanging out with y'all.
John, of all the topics you've discussed on the show, and you've discussed a lot of topics, I really enjoy your videos. Which one's the topic that really, you know, gets to you to say, I can't believe I have to do another video about this stupid topic or anything like that? Is there one particular topic that really gets to you?
Well, you know, it's got to be, you know, the topics covering like the Kalam cosmological argument and you know, simple arguments for God's existence, kind of like that, like the design argument. That one kind of always grates on me, because what you'll have are these videos that these people put out, and it's like, undeniable proof of God's existence. And I'm like, okay, undeniable proof, I'm ready. And they're like, you know, stuff's really complicated out here, and I just don't understand it. So obviously it means it's got to be God's doing. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, really?
Wow. Yeah.
Undeniable proof. Look at the trees.
Yes.
Question.
That's what I was told.
Has anyone given undeniable evidence of Satan's existence? Because we always talk about God's existence, and I always scream about how Satan exists. Has anyone actually come up with that?
You know, I actually I haven't looked for like proof that Satans and demons exist. It's usually just that like they state it as a fact, and not so much that like there's any kind of direct proof that Satan is real. It's just from what I could tell, and I mean, maybe I'm just not looking at the right keywords on YouTube or whatever, but I mean, they argue for God's existence, and then obviously it's a Christian God, so obviously, the devil exists. And I've actually got a video that's coming out on Monday of this week, which that'll be the 7th of February, where this guy goes over like 4 secrets of the devil, and they're really underwhelming, like secrets.
I was gonna say that's right up my alley.
Right. What about that documentary? It's The Exorcist. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
That's good evidence right there.
4 secrets of the devil. He really likes whipped cream.
Yeah.
And pea soup.
And we
Secrets of the devil. He's not so good at violin.
Which I don't know if you guys have ever really watched any of the Exorcist type videos that are out there, like on YouTube, but like there's one guy, Bob Larson, who supposedly does a whole bunch of exorcisms and stuff. But the Exorcist videos where they're supposedly exorcising demons, those are actually really hilarious because you can tell that the people are acting like they're not possessed by demons; they're just bad actors. And
like the one, the guy is being exorcised and he gets a phone call in the middle of the exorcism, starts answering his phone.
Oh, no, that's hilarious. But I'm talking about the people that are supposedly like being possessed by a demon right there, and you got somebody that's doing an exorcism, and so they just like they yell out weird things, and they change their voice and everything like that, and they act like they're actually possessed, and I don't know. It's I find it hilarious because it's like, I really don't think that's how the demon would possess somebody, but that's how they think it would happen.
I'm glad they were acting, because for a second there I thought they were going to just be abusing some mentally ill person, somebody going through an episode,
I would say there's probably a fair amount of that in some of those places. Because Bob Larson actually has a thing where he would go from town to town and get rent out like a hotel conference room and stuff.
So
Patreon goal. We put some money aside and we get John to go to Bob Larson and pretend he's possessed.
I get to go in. I totally get to go in.
I'm totally behind.
I want to see Satan possession.
Money to see that.
Look, look here though. So
I'm
like,
just
go ahead. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. No. So anyway, like demon possession, right? Like the point you make there, right? Like if demons must be really, really, really stupid if they possess someone and all they're doing is just shouting things and being like, rah! Like, shouldn't they be doing stuff like, I don't know, like setting a bridge to explode or something, like some chaos, right? Acting completely normal, like, I'm good. I'm just going to go to the store.
The demons get people to do stuff like masturbate. Or
that's right.
like super low key stuff. That's what the demons are getting people to do.
Masturbate the whale penis.
Full circle. There we go.
So I have this alter ego on my channel called Brocephus, and that's where I throw on the country accent like really, really thick. And I've got like this whole getup that I wear. It's all the way over there right now, but I've got these Christ glasses that I wear. That's like they're white and they've got white crosses on them, and so it's just like aviators, And so I wear those. If I were to go to a Barb Larson thing, I think I would seamlessly transition into just like a Brocephus demon. But I'm wondering. Like he always attributes the demon possessions to like not Beelzebub, but who is it? The
Baal or something?
No, not Baal. Crap, there's always one demon. It's the woman. Huh?
What's that? Barack Obama? That's usually the one they blame.
No, that's the Antichrist.
Oh, sorry. You get them all mixed up. Demons, Antichrist, eventually.
I think I know.
I can't remember what the demon's name is, but it's always one of two demons that he says it. But I'm just wondering if there's like a Cletus demon, because that's it. I would exhibit the Cletus demon like hardcore.
That's what you should do. So when he's like, "It's this demon," you're like, "No, it's not." It's this demon, then, and you're like, "No, it's not." Turns out I'm Cletus. Wow.
You're in a game of guess who the demon is. And
Cletus fetus.
You're like, my name is Cletus. Cletus the demon. I'm a Cletus demon. I like drinking Bud Light and 4-wheelers.
Cletus sounds like he's like Igor for Omok or whatever, the Marlock or whatever, the fucking the owl one.
A couple of Alka-Seltzer in his mouth, he can just start frothing and foaming at the mouth while he's being possessed. That's brilliant. I love it, man. Patreon goal. I love it.
Jesus. Hey, I do want to ask real quick. I'm sorry.
Go for it, man.
I saw you did a debate the other day. It was really good. How often do you do debates? Like, how many? Like, do people agree to do debates quite often, or is it just here and there?
I mean, I tried to do debates whenever I can get good people to debate, I mean, sometimes it's a bit more frequent than others. Which one did you see just recently? Was it the Street Preacher Joe one?
I think so. It was the one that he said he was an atheist, or he said he was Catholic, and then went to being atheist, and then became a evangelical.
Right. Yeah.
He's like the historicity of Jesus and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that was a little while ago, actually, that I recorded that because it was like right after Trump got elected to president and stuff like that. So I think it was about 2017 or so that I recorded that. So I had originally put that up in segments, and so I just wanted to have the full thing on there. And but I do try to have debates, like, you know, as much as I can, you know, whenever there's a good opportunity, and also the person has to at least somewhat seem like they're there for a good, like, discussion, like they're an honest interlocutor. And so I try to do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're now possessed by a demon and you're now a master debater?
Yeah.
Actually, if you go back into the archives, last time John was on the show was the old version of Left of the Valley, the original one, and he did debate historicity of Jesus with a Christian, and he totally killed him too.
That's awesome. That's a tough one, because they bring out stuff where you're just like, a lot of times, you know, I'm just like, I don't, you know exactly the thing that you're referring to. Yeah.
Well, so that's probably one of the topics that I know the most about. So I've yet to be exactly stumped. In the debate or the discussion rather that I had with the Street Preacher Joe guy, I didn't know at that particular time. I didn't know everything that I know now about, like, crucifixion and that method of, like, execution and stuff. So I'm better equipped now to handle, like, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I mean, for, you know, historicity debates or discussions, I'm fairly well, you know, prepared for just about anything anybody can throw out. But generally, in that particular discussion, they usually go along only a few routes, and so there's not really a lot of innovation happening, like, in that area as far as the historicity side goes.
You know, the funny thing to do a parentheses on the historicity, the thing that always got into my craw when I'm debating a Christian who believes in Jesus, because I'm just like you, John. I'm also a mythicist. I don't think that the man actually existed. Is the idea that, you know, they can't seem to get past the idea that, you know, if you're a follower of a man and you believe this man is actually the incarnation of your God, and he's here talking to you, yet none of them can give him a physical description. Any of the relics he used, his sandals, his robe, his lock of hair, absolutely nothing. Nothing at all throughout history. And that is just mind-blowing to me. If you're walking with the guy and you say, wow, this is Jesus Christ, they can't even give a birth date, a time of day. I would be recording everything if I truly believed this was God.
Well, and he had 12 guys following him constantly. You think one of them would have nicked the damn cup he used at the Last Supper? He basically announced that he was going to die.
My mother has my toenail clippings when I was a baby, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is disgusting. But, I mean...
She got something, right?
Well, they got the Shroud of Turin, but that was found out to be a hoax, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's it's a 13th or 14th century art piece. Is what it was, or rather, the the stain on the shroud doesn't match any kind of human anatomy that we could have with a shroud covering a bloody body and all this other stuff, and the blood drippings on it go the wrong way, kind of thing. So I mean, there's a lot of things that indicate that it definitely wasn't something that wrapped up an actual body.
So what is your favorite argument that somebody has brought up about the historicity?
It's kind of hard to really gauge favorite, because favorite could be the strongest case they have, or favorite could be the absolute worst case they have. And
let's go with
give us both.
Yeah. So my favorite absolute worst case is when they create imaginary sources and then proclaim them to be independent eyewitness accounts. And that's where that comes up is mainly with the Gospels, because it's claimed by people like Bart Ehrman and other biblical scholars that the Gospels actually have these independent eyewitness sources behind them that are reliable enough to where we know that Jesus actually existed, and it makes Jesus the most attested to historical figure of the first century or something like that. And the problem is that you can't just create imaginary sources as if they exist in some real way and proclaim them to be independent when we can't really analyze them to determine if they're independent. And we can't analyze them to determine if they're really eyewitness accounts. And so I think that's probably one of the absolute worst pieces of evidence that I've heard them bring up. And then the best evidence that's my favorite are pretty much the vague passages in Paul, because there's two distinct sort of levels to the historicity claims. So you've got Paul, who is writing starting in about the 50s, and he has this one particular vision of Jesus, and he's got vague descriptions of Jesus that could be an indication that he really walked on the earth, but it seems to me like all the evidence surrounding them to explain that evidence points towards him only ever being celestial. And so that's why it's that's my favorite historicist arguments is that's actually good, because then you have the Gospels that are later, and they're the ones that invent the disciples and invents the Pilate or the Pilate story, and invents the birth narratives and everything like that. So you have Paul's celestial Jesus, and then you have the historicized version of Jesus that crops up with the Gospels. So I typically like to focus on Paul, because I think that's the strongest argument they have.
That would explain why nobody could nick the cut.
Yeah.
Celestial.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's the kind of argument I hate to see, because they'll just hang on to something in the Bible that is mildly historical, and then they just put historicity throughout the entire book. And I usually go with them and says, I have a comic book here of Muhammad Ali fighting Superman in a boxing match. Now, this is a real comic book. This is a real comic book that was actually printed. And now we know Muhammad Ali was a real boxer. Now, does that mean Superman's real too?
Right.
Exactly. But they don't seem to understand that in Christianity. Just because, the town of Nazareth exists, therefore Jesus must have.
Duh.
Yeah. It's like Robin Hood,
Yeah, but New York City exists too, but that doesn't mean there's a Spider-Man within it.
Yes, there is.
Right.
John, I gotta ask, because I know for a while there you were getting quite famous on the way you were rebuking flat earthers. Okay, to me, my friend, you're a saint because I've seen a lot of your videos about flat earthers, and I'm thinking, how do you do it, man? How do you do it? How do you manage it? How I don't know. I'm not even sure I've got a question here.
Well, so I haven't really been doing a lot of flat Earth for about the past year or so, and that's primarily just because it all became like really repetitive, like even more so than religious arguments are, and it's quite clear that after the Behind the Curve documentary, that absolutely nothing at all was going to really chip away at any flat earthers like ideas surrounding the shape of the earth. And so the reason why that documentary was actually really important was because they actually had flat earthers debunk themselves when trying to determine the rotation of the earth. And it's just amazing. And then they ended the entire thing with Jeranism, who's a pretty big in the flat earth community, but they had Jeranism performing an experiment and debunking himself like in the documentary. So I mean, it's just yeah.
But John, if I take a basketball and I pour water on it, the water doesn't stay on. So how does that work for the globe?
It would spin off. It just spins right off of it.
It's gone.
Stupid.
I saw a guy one time to take a Nerf ball and he dunked it in water, soaked it with water, and then he spun it real fast. And of course, the centrifugal force, just the water was just flying off. Said, "Well, that doesn't rotate at 1,600 kilometers per hour like the Earth does." Explain that.
Gosh, so
You want
dumb.
the Earth is to spin that fast in space? Yes, the water would fly off too. Oh God. Anyway, John, what's next for the Godless Engineer? I mean, we love your videos. Obviously, we're fans, and we love where you're working all that. So, what's coming up next for you?
Well, you know, I'm pretty much just grinding it out on YouTube. So I'm trying to get a bunch of scripts written so that I can record fresh, new content. I've got a video coming out this week, like I said, about the devil secrets, and then later on in the week, I've got a video where I respond to Tim Allen and Norm Macdonald when they were sort of discussing atheism. And so I've got that, and I don't really have like big plans for this year just yet. I know Richard Carrier might be coming through, so I might have some pretty good like in-person content to record with him. But other than that, I don't have like any big plans. I'm still working on a lot of updates for the Crestus app that I have in the app stores. That's my mythicist informational app that I inherited, and I've tried to update the framework and get new updates merged into it and everything like that. So I'm constantly working to get that done. I mean, other than that, I'm just trying to figure out new video ideas to do, and try to figure out how to tackle the same topics in different ways. I'm thinking about bringing back my comment videos. I did one at the very end of last year, and so I haven't gotten comments together to do another video, but I usually like doing those videos, and people have a lot of fun, reading through stupid comments. So I might try that a little bit. But other than all that, it's just consistently trying to find good videos to review and provide great information on. One video that I have planned coming up is actually it's going to be a series of videos refuting this one video by Genesis Apologetics, who's known for producing really poor like creationism videos. And I got a number of people that are going to be coming on to help me out with that, like Erica from Gutsit Gibbon and Dan from Creation Myths. And so both of them are actually working in the evolutionary, biology field. So they're going to be helping me out, and I've got a lot of Mythicist content that I want to do this year. So I'm going to be upping the content surrounding mythicism, and just kind of focusing on putting more educational stuff into my videos, as well as doing some entertainment stuff.
Thank you so much, John. The channel is The Godless Engineer. Look it up on YouTube. John, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Before I let you go, I gotta have you say though, hey there, heathen. This is John. This is John the Godless Engineer, and I took a left in the valley.
Okay. What's up, heathens? This is John the Godless Engineer, and I took a left at the valley.
Oh yeah.
And that was John, the Godless Engineer. And I should really practice saying that more because I keep saying God, the Johnless Engineer. Great guy. I love his content. He puts out a lot of quality content and a lot of interesting information out there.
So if you haven't seen him, go see him.
Yeah,
He's on YouTube.
Definitely more of that needed out there. And I love the way he likes to debunk things here and there. And you guys have any thought on John?
Nice guy.
Yeah, I always enjoy the videos. That's like one of the few YouTubers that comes on like just automatic. I guess because I've watched a bunch of them. So
yeah,
he's funny.
And yeah, I mean, I always love the energy he brings, and he's a very sympathetic guy, and I love his work. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
perfect. All right, so thank you so much for John, the Godless Engineer, for being a guest, and thank you to Herd C, Bradley, Sabrina, and Benjamin for my co-hosts, and thank you for listening. You can follow us at leftandvalley.ca. You can send us an email at leftandvalley@outlook.com. You can go to Twitter at LATV Podcast, go to YouTube or Facebook,
Instagram,
.com/leftandvalley. What am I missing? Give us a 5-star review wherever you find us. It helps us and helps others find the show. You can become a patron and help the show grow. Go to patreon.com/LATV. Brett Lee, what's coming up for Unapologetics?
Yeah, this Wednesday, Unapologetics panel stream. If you search it on YouTube, we hang out and just watch videos, usually just crazy right-wing videos that are
crazy music.
and crazy music videos. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I have to do a best of music videos soon.
Oh God!
Excellent. Yeah,
I should. All right, coming up next week we'll have Janice Selby, and we'll be talking about Court 2022 again. And a week after that we'll have Ian Harris, funny guy, and coming in the beginning of March we'll have David Fitzgerald will return.
Forgot about Nick Fish on.
Sorry, I always forget about Nick. I gotta put.
How can you forget that about Nick? He is only the president of the American Atheists, one of the biggest knowledge people of Project Blitz. You are not going to forget Nick Fish.
Don't forget about Nick Fish again, okay?
I'm going to put it right there in my calendar.
Yes,
I'm going to start spreading that hashtag.
Yes,
don't forget about Nick.
In March, we'll talk about David Fitzgerald. Will be talking about Mormonism, so that should be good. Benjamin, I want you to participate on that for sure. And we'll talk as well to Seth Andrews and maybe even Tom and Cecil from Cognitive Dissonance. We'll see what's going on there. So
awesome.
Excellent. Anything else I need to add?
Have a great week.
Perfect. Until next time, guys.
Later.
Unsubstantiated claims, that's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.